session.
Okay. So, magandang umaga po, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Welcome po sa ating session ngayong araw sa ating webinar. Okay, so maraming salamat po at nag-take time po kayo para sa inyong umattend po dito sa webinar natin ngayong hapon na ito. And this, I'm so glad that you're able to join us this afternoon kasi alam natin na ang webinar na to ay ang inyong kinabukasan dito sa New Zealand. That's why as of today, we have 77 participants attending. Maraming salamat. So ibig sabihin, lahat po kayo interesado talaga para malaman natin ang ating future dito sa New Zealand. So, I will start a little bit of introduction. I am Jazz. Ako po ay dito nagtatrabaho sa Immigration Advisors New Zealand. And with us is Jerwin also. You known him para sa inyong sa taga AIS po siya. Siya po yung student leader sa AIS. He was able to establish the club and of course a licensed immigration advisors with us para mag-discuss ng ating kung ano man ang changes natin sa ating hinaharap dito sa August 20, 2026. So with us is Vandana Rai and Himanshu Rai. So ito po, magsisimula na po ang ating discussion about the webinar kasi alam ko po excited po kayo lahat at hindi na po kayo makapaghintay. So as of today, we have 81 participants na. So simulan na po natin. Oh, Jervin, can you please discuss what is your journey here in New Zealand? I forgot as a student visa. I know you graduated from UP and being we are came from the same school. We love the Philippines. It's always be an issue of leaving the Philippines, especially if you are a graduate as a scholar ng bayan ng Pilipinas. Can you please share why did you decided to study here in New Zealand?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Jerwin. As Jazz mentioned earlier, I am the founding president of AISC Club. It's a student organization exclusive for Filipinos at the Auckland Institute of Study. So I thought of establishing the organization because there's a growing number of Filipino students at AIS, and I felt like they needed a community, a safe community that could help them or that could assist them in navigating the challenges in their student journey. Leaving the Philippines is a hard decision, but I think I needed to because some of my relatives are already here, and I feel like New Zealand is the best country for retirement. Yeah. So just a brief context on why we are having this webinar. So we are all aware that the Immigration New Zealand has released updates regarding the skilled migrant category last 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it has brought a lot of excitement to the majority of us here in the audience, primarily because of the favorable stipulations in the updates. But at the same time, it has also sparked confusion, maybe because we didn't fully understand what the updates are all about or what are the actual proof or the requirements needed by INZ for the application. So on behalf of AISC Club and the other Filipino students over here, we thank Jazz for coming up with this initiative to answer all of our questions, and of course Vanada and Himanshu for sparing some of your time to speak in this event. So yeah, I turn you over to Jazz, Himanshu, and Vanada. Thank you.
Bandana.
Vandana,
All
sorry,
right.
Vandana. I'm so sorry.
All right. It's okay, Jerwin. And maraming salamat din, Jerwin, because when the moment I send you a message that we need to talk about these changes, really very supportive ka. And I really thank also Vandana because when I approach Vandana, just tell me if they can have a numbers, we will do it as soon as possible. So that's why after Monday, Friday agad, we give this seminar kasi alam natin now the Filipinos are excited if there's a really what are the changes. So I
And
will start.
thank you for partnering with AISC Club. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
of course. I know that the SICLAB is very large, Philippine organization in A is very active. So we here are, oh sorry. Okay, so new immigration rules, anong meron? So we are really want to know what is, ano ba talaga, are we affected? Are we included? So that's why we will start that okay lang kung meron kayong mga katanungan, it's better that we know the right questions and the right answers will be given later. So we have the skilled migrant residency changes announced September 23 and effective by August 2026. So sino ba ang immigration advisors? New Zealand, we are located here in Simon Street. So 71 Simon Street, sa heart lang po tayo ng city natin. So it's beside Cordis, wag kayong mag-alala. Hindi po kayo mawawala because we have a flag and we have the whole tower named after us. So hindi nyo po mamimiss ang office. All right? And then the good thing is our organization has five why it's not our organization has it's me, sorry. Well, I'm handling the Philippine market. So I'm here with you. I'm your Ate Jazz. Wag na pong ma'am, wag nang miss, Ate Jazz lang po. Okay? So in our organization we have five licensed immigration advisors. Okay? That's a very good pinaka talaga because we are in-house immigration advisors. Hindi na kailangang mag-hire, hindi na kailangang magbayad pa and we are reachable kasi kung nandito ang licensed immigration advisor, we can even walk in po kayo, makakausap nyo agad ang licensed immigration advisor. Vandana is our senior advisor. Himanshu is the husband of Vandana. Siya po ay dating military in India. So si Colonel Himanshu Rai po siya. So talagang straight at alam niya po kung how to strategize for us. And Vandana is dati po siya nagwo-work sa school. He is a guidance counselor. So alam niya po kung paano po yun natin ang i-reach ang ating mga ang kinabukasan natin dito sa New Zealand because she knows what is more important, our future, especially for us that uprooting all our family here in New Zealand. Kailangan na ang sinugal natin is talagang magiging fruitful. All right? And we have Tanua, we called her Tina Tina. Si Tina po ay dati nagtatrabaho sa Immigration New Zealand sa or India. So siya po nakaalam po niya kung paano i-present, paano ipa-approve ang mga visa natin. That's why in the Philippines we are 100% approval rating po sa Philippines. Wala po tayong decline since our organization started our reaching for Filipinos since 3 years ago. So can you imagine we are from New Zealand, we're reaching out sa Filipino market because we know that we value the Filipino market. So, and we have Amy with us. She's a Chinese licensed immigration advisor to address the need, especially for the Chinese na may gap for our languages. So wag po kayong mag-alala. Amy is also trained by Vandana, so alam niya po kung paano pasikot-sikot, especially for our Chinese market. So we are full house po dito sa Immigration Advisors New Zealand. And then I will repeat, because we value our clients. That's why po for our student visa holders, hindi po kami nagpa-processing fee. That's why that's the brainchild of our owners, which is si Mancho and Vandana, na hindi kailangan i-charge pa ang mga student visa holders because you spent millions already going here. So processing fee lang po kami makakatulong po sa inyo. And here we talk about what are the summary changes in New Zealand. Vandana will discuss more discuss one by one or all the questions regarding the immigration changes. Hi Vandana, can you please start?
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jerwin, and I welcome all the attendees. I'm so happy to provide this clarification to all of you because I am aware there are so many questions, and definitely you need these clarification so that you can just be at peace and know that you are on the right path. So I would try and give all the information. We have also received a lot of questions from you all when you were registering. We've made an effort so that we can answer those questions as we move on. But if your question is still unanswered, feel free to put in your question in the Q&A box, and we will have time at the end of this presentation to answer those questions as well. Just a disclaimer before I start. I would not be giving any tailored advice here because we cannot discuss individual cases. I would be giving information on the announcement and the pathways, just so that you don't get it wrong and there is no individual advice being given here. So start with, what were the changes? So we saw a few changes come in on the 23rd of September, and the first one was the skilled work experience pathway and the trade and technician pathway. So these two pathways are newly introduced residence pathways, which will come in to effect from August 2026. The exact date is not yet announced, but definitely this would come in place, and as we move on we will get more clarification. The third thing which was announced was that we will have more points for New Zealand qualifications, and out of currently maximum of 3 years of skilled work experience points are required, so these 3 years would be reduced to 2 years when the change come into place. Also, the wage requirement, if there was a skilled work experience needed, currently you need to meet the median wage at the start of your employment and also at the time of applying for your residence visa. This would also change, and you would just need to meet the wage requirement at the start of the employment only once. The other requirements of job, offer, health, character, English would still remain the same. So I'm just giving you a broader perspective of what has been announced, and we would discuss in detail all these now. Jess, if you could please move on to the next page. Okay, the first pathway, skilled work experience pathway, this is a newly introduced pathway. So who would this apply to? I know a lot of you are currently studying because this is an AIS group. So those who are doing a qualification probably may not be impacted a lot on this pathway. However, there are students who have got partners who could be on a skilled work experience or a skilled job here in New Zealand. For that matter, their friends who could be on accredited employer work visa here in New Zealand. So anybody who is in New Zealand working in a skilled position, which is an ANSCO 1, 2, and 3, and had no pathway to residence because they had no qualification, would now have a pathway to residence when these changes are implemented from August 2026. So what this means is if somebody has 5 years of directly relevant experience, and that person is working in a job in New Zealand on a role which is an ANSCO 1, 2, and 3, and they have at least 5 years of directly relevant experience. Out of those 5 years, at least 2 years should be in New Zealand, and at least 2 years should be with at median 1.1 times the median wage rate, and then they would have the eligibility for residence visa. So those who are already studying masters, completed masters, probably would realize that their own pathway moves faster than this. That's okay. So the fact that this pathway has been introduced is to benefit all those who are skilled workers here in New Zealand, who were nearing the maximum continuous stay of 5 years on an accredited employer work visa, had no other option but to leave New Zealand and go back. So this pathway has been introduced so that these skilled workers could be retained in the country, so that the New Zealand employers are not disadvantaged when these people move out. And the fact that these skilled workers would have spent 5 years in the country are kind of established. So it's kind of fair to give them option as well. So good news for all those who did not have a pathway previously. We move to the second pathway, which has been introduced now. Jess, if you could please change the slide for me. Okay, so this is the trade and technician pathway. So this is for those trade workers who were working but probably did not have a pathway under the current setting. So what this pathway will mean is somebody who is working in the specified trade or technician roles, and they have a level 4 or higher qualification, a trade qualification, which has at least 120 credits or more, and they had 4 years of post-qualification experience. Out of those 4 years, at least 1.5 years should have been in New Zealand on median wage or higher. So if there are trade workers, current settings for trade workers, we see a lot of trade roles in the green list. However, most of them require a wage requirement of 1.5 times the median or higher, or 1.3 times the median or higher. So and a lot of trade workers probably were not meeting those requirements. So definitely this is a newly introduced pathway which will come into effect from August next year. And this will make sure that New Zealand trade workers here in New Zealand meeting this requirement definitely have a pathway towards residence as well. If we move on to the next, yeah, thanks, Jazz. Okay, so now this is what has really initiated a lot of interest and a lot of confusion as well. So this is the changes that will come to the current skilled migrant category, and these changes will come into effect from August 2026. We don't have the exact date, but yes, this is what it is. So what it means is that New Zealand qualifications will be incentivized. So it will be they would be given higher points if the qualification is in New Zealand as compared to if the qualification was overseas. So just to give you a brief, currently a master's gives 5 points, irrespective of whether that qualification is gained in New Zealand or overseas. Post this changes, New Zealand masters would have more points than overseas masters. So if I just give you an example of how many points, what qualification. So a New Zealand masters and a New Zealand PhD both are at the same level after these changes will come into effect. That means a PhD currently gives 6 points, and from August next year, even New Zealand masters will give 6 points. Now, I see a lot of questions coming in and a lot of confusion wherein when immigration have written in on their website that what gives 6 points? PhD, New Zealand masters, and they have also written 3 times the median wage rate, and they've also written registration. So we're getting questions that if they are claiming points for New Zealand masters, do they need 3 times the median wage rate? So I take this opportunity here to clarify, no, what that page means is that these other things will also give you 6 points. So if somebody had 3 times the median wage, currently they get 6 points. This will continue later on as well. So without qualification, 3 times median also gives 6 points. That is why that 3 times the median wage rate has been written along with New Zealand masters and PhD. It does not mean that with the New Zealand masters, you need 3 times the median wage rate. Now, what gives 5 points? So now if somebody has 6 points, then they would need a skilled employment here in New Zealand. Nothing changes in this space. That means what is a skilled employment? I will clarify as we move on as well. So an ANSCO role of when ANSCO 1, 2, or 3, and they are paid the median wage rate is considered a skilled employment. And that employment should be with an accredited employer. That remains the same. It should be full-time, permanent, either ongoing employment remains the same. If it is a fixed term, it should be at least a 12-month fixed term contract or more. That remains the same. So everything else kind of remains the same. So I'm not getting into details there. So now what gives 5 points? Currently, New Zealand masters give 5 points. This will change. And after it is changed or implemented, other qualifications which will give 5 points is New Zealand bachelor's qualification will give 5 points. So there's a big benefit we see here for students enrolled in bachelor's currently. Currently, New Zealand bachelor's only gives 3 points. And then somebody needs to have a work experience of 3 years. So with the change, New Zealand bachelors will get 5 points along with other overseas qualifications of like overseas masters or a New Zealand PG dip or a New Zealand honors or a PG certificate. So they all will give 5 points. 4 points, overseas bachelors, just like New Zealand bachelors gives 5 points, the overseas bachelors will give 4 points, along with other overseas qualification of bachelor's honors, PG dip, PG certificate. And then you would need to cover the remaining points with your skilled work experience points. Jess, if you could please move on to the other slide, please. Okay. So the other change that has been announced, which again will benefit a lot of those who need some skilled work experience. So what that means is no retest at residence application lodgement stage. So it means if somebody needs 1 year of skilled work experience, let's say somebody does a master's here, a bachelor's here in New Zealand, gets 5 points, and they need 1 year of skilled work experience. Then current setting, they need to get on a median wage with ANSCO 1, 2, and 3, and their work experience starts getting counted. And when it comes the time of applying for residence, they have to again meet the median wage applicable at that time to be able to apply for residence. That means for 1 year of skilled work experience, they need to meet the median wage at 2 points, one at the start of the experience points and one at the time of lodgement of the residence. So this change will be removed so that if they start working on the median wage, they do not need to have the current median at the time of residence application. So again, that is a very good news. I see a lot of clients being relaxed or less stressed with this change. You must though maintain the required wage throughout the New Zealand experience, and the threshold are still tied with the skill levels. That means if you are working in a role which is in ANSCO 1, 2, and 3, you are required to be paid the median wage. And if you're working in an ANSCO 4 and 5, you are required to be gaining 1.5 times the median wage, so that your employment or work experience could be considered skilled. So nothing changes in this space. Jazz, if I could please request you to change the slide. Okay, so now there are some fine prints. So some things which kind of cause confusion, some things which we still need more clarification on. So I'm just telling you what we are aware of now. And we did raise few things with immigration and the, I don't know if somebody is monitoring the announcement page, they would see that there are few changes coming in every day. So even today there have been some changes there. So as and when we see something, we bring it to immigration notice and they kind of clarify that. So I'm telling you what is applicable as of now and what you should be aware of, what are the fine print there and what are the things that could be of concern. One thing which is kind of written is applicants claiming points for postgraduate qualification must also hold an undergraduate degree. If you read the page, the announcement page, these things are written there. What does that apply to? What does that imply? We still need clarification, and we will give you as we get further from immigration. Initially, everybody was worried. What does that mean? Because we are aware there are students enrolled in masters who got admission in masters based on their overseas work experience. So what happens to them? Is this applying to them? Or does it only apply to a PG diploma or a PG certificate? We will tell you as we get more clarification on this, but this is something that you have to seek clarification on before moving on. We will get clarification also on this, that what happens in that stage. Is it only applicable to PG certificate or does it also apply to masters? What happens then? Will they get less points or what points will they be eligible for? But definitely something that you need to be aware of. Second thing, that you should know is all skilled migrant applicants must also continue to have either current skilled employment or offer of skilled employment at the relevant wage rate to be granted residence. So this, I've explained previously, I'll explain again. A lot of clients or students are approaching us and saying, okay, my master's I will complete and I will get 6 points. Then can I just go ahead and apply for residence? No, it doesn't happen that way. Even in the current setting, if somebody has 6 points, you still need to have either a job offer, a skilled job offer, or a skilled employment where you are working, or you've been offered employment, both work. But meeting all the other requirements, that's still applicable, and this remains the same, nothing changes in there. Another question which I'm kind of getting, and I'll just take the opportunity to answer here. There are students who are currently enrolled in a master's program. We also have few clients who are enrolled who are kind of applying for Feb 2026 intake, and they're kind of worried and calling us and saying, hey, should we defer our intake from Feb 2026 to maybe September 2026 because otherwise our masters will not give us points. So no, it doesn't happen like that. When the changes are announced, it gets implemented to everyone who has the same qualification. We have never seen anyone being disadvantaged in that, saying that, oh, if you started your master's before February or before August, you will not get points. And if you started your master's after August is when you get points. We've never seen Immigration New Zealand disadvantaging applicants like this. So just relax, don't worry. If New Zealand Masters get some points and somebody has a New Zealand Masters, this should apply to them, and we will provide clarification as we move on. Okay, so um, another thing that you need to be aware of is when we are talking about the skilled residence path or the trade and technician path, in those two roles, in those two pathways, there are certain occupations which immigration will put in red list and amber list. So what that means is either those qualifications will be excluded from the new skilled work experience and the trade technician pathway, or if that is in the red list, or if that is in the amber list, Immigration New Zealand will do some additional require some additional eligibility criteria for those pathways. So not all occupations that you would be working in would be eligible under these new pathways. So if you're working in a role which comes under the red list, you may have to then see residence path and the alternate options like a skilled migrant category and not under the residence skilled experience pathway. So as we move on and we get more clarification, we definitely will provide which are these occupations that immigration has concerns on. But for now, something that you should be aware of. If you could please change the slide. Okay. Okay. So as a prospective applicant, as a migrant, what do you need to do? Or how can you be sure that you are on the right path? First thing, you can't go wrong on your ANSCO. You need to map duties, whether you are in skilled employment or what you think will be a skilled employment. Is it really skilled employment? So first thing, Immigration New Zealand does not rely on your job title. Somebody would say, hey, I'm working as an airport manager or I'm working as a restaurant manager. So my title is in ANSCO 2, so I should be eligible. No, it doesn't happen like that. So when immigration decides whether your role is in ANSCO 1, 2, or 3, they would not see your job title in isolation. They will look at your job duties. What are the duties that you are performing? Is your duty in alignment with what the ANSCO duty for that role is? How much of independence do you have in your role? How much of decision making can you do independently? So they would look at a lot of other things. They would look at the size of the organization. They would look at the organization chart of your employer and so many other factors. So again, I cannot give any advice here because whether this role is skilled or not, we definitely need to sit with the applicants and discuss a lot of things to be then satisfied or give them the concerns that could arise if things don't change for them. So make sure you are very sure that your role is skilled if you have to later on apply for residence. Tighten your pay proof. So if you need to be paid the median wage, then you need to be paid the median wage if you're claiming points for experience all through your experience time frames. So your contract, whether it is fixed term, permanent, ongoing, whether your pay slips reflect the pay rate correctly, if your contract shows that there will be an additional hours and your annual remuneration covers all that you will be paid for. Usually the employment agreements at times will have that wording. So then immigration would see, okay, in any week, how many hours are you required to work? So if you are required in some weeks, if you're required to work, let's say 45 hours, then they may divide your annual remuneration, make, through 45 hours a week, and then maybe your median wage may come down than the median requirement. So there could be so many things which could probably go wrong that you need to see and tighten up now. Whether your IRD records are in alignment with what you are claiming. If you're working in a role which requires registration, do you have the registration? Are you suitably qualified for your role? Another question we get quite a lot of times is, do I have to work in a job, in a role which is in alignment with my New Zealand qualification? So not really. When you have to claim your skilled work experience points, it doesn't have to be related to your New Zealand qualification. However, you're still required to be suitably qualified for that role. It could be through your overseas qualification. It could be through your work experience that you've gained. So it could be anything. But what exactly is it? You should probably have things in place. Your documents, experience, dates, referee letters, everything. And when it is time for you to apply, you should have your mandatory lodgement requirements ready. So your PCC, medicals, because we have seen clients coming up to us with their decline saying that, hey, they missed on their PCC and then immigration did not wait and declined their application. So residence applications, even without PCC, immigration is declining, and they're not giving time to secure a PCC then. So, and the fees is quite a big amount. So then making sure that your application is decision ready, you have done the assessment correctly is very, very important. So, Jazz, if you could please. Okay, so again, what are the employers required to work along with you? So again, as an employer, for you, if you're working with one, looking at your job descriptions and score mapping, updating the organization chart so the role fits in better when Immigration New Zealand asks for it. All the payrolls and the market rate evidence, if there are any inconsistencies, that is sorted. A lot of times, if somebody would have taken leave without pay and that was not as per the the leave entitlement, there are scenarios where that skilled work experience points could be reduced. So something that you should work with your employees in alignment and make sure that doesn't happen. And have the right pathway as per the employees. So which pathway will lead you to residence the fastest? Will it be the skilled migrant category? Will it be the skilled work experience? Will that be any green list pathway? So one person may be eligible for more than one path leading to residence. So you probably need to then sit with your employers to see if there are any amendments required or decide which pathway you want to apply, which is leading the fastest. Then if there are any requirement for references, making sure you have everything on time and making sure that you have enough time for your current visa to then apply for residence. One thing which at times applicants can miss is when somebody submits a residence, may or may not get a interim visa. So you have to be very careful on that. Whether it is in your interest if you're getting an interim to come on an interim, or better to extend your visa if you need more time to apply for your residence. A few things that you definitely would need to discuss. Yeah. If you can move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so what are the timelines that you have to work on? So this new policy will come into effect from August 2026. The final dates are yet to be announced, and we will let you know as soon as we hear from immigration. Few occupations may not be eligible for certain new pathways like skilled work experience or the trade and technician pathway. So these red or amber list, what occupations are coming in there, definitely we will let you know when it comes. And the policies are changing quite quickly. I would not say changing quite quickly. I would say they are providing clarification as and when some confusion is arising. So you definitely need to monitor updates. What we have started doing is we have started putting regular YouTube videos with these minor updates also as and when they come. So if you think that this is you are interested, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because as and when there are clarifications received on those in this pathway, we are making a YouTube channel video and putting it across there. So definitely something we are doing so that everybody is kind of aware of and don't get confused. If you could please, Jazz, move to the next slide. Again, a disclaimer, which I gave when we started. I'm not giving any tailored advice here. Please do not take this webinar as tailored advice. If you need any personal eligibility assessment, please book an appointment and we would then check on your uh, qualifications, experience, pathway, and then can give immigration advice individually. This is general information only, not tailored immigration advice. Yeah, all
So
good,
it's now question and answers now, Vandana.
all good.
So honestly, we have
We have
19
19.
questions.
Okay.
But we can have those who answer who sent us questions pre during
Registration.
our what to call that our during our registrations. So they sent us questions as well. So
Yes,
there
yes.
so can I pick one
Yes,
or
please.
two? Okay.
Uh, yeah,
So
you keep picking those questions first and then
mhm,
we'll come on here.
yeah. So one of the questions are they going to required for 3 times the median after they
Okay.
graduate?
I've already clarified that because I did see the question. So no, 3 times the median wage also gives 6 points, and that is the current setting. So if somebody has a master's and they would get 6 points, they are not required to work on 3 times the median wage. No. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vandana. And some of our questions is if they are graduate masters in the Philippines or any other country, is this 6 points?
No. So overseas masters currently have 5 points. Even in the new setting, that gives 5 points. That is what has been announced.
Mhm.
Only
All
New
right.
Zealand qualifications are being given more points. Yeah, that way.
All right. Thank you very much, Vandana. So one more question from who submitted. What if the husband got a master's degree? Can the husband claim for the also for the point system?
Yes, definitely. That's a very good question. And I've kind of explained previously. I would again say if somebody is studying here in New Zealand and partner is on a work visa, the partner can also be the main applicant for residence visa. So if they have got overseas masters, get it assessed. That gives them currently 5 points. They are on a partnership based work visa, working in a skilled employment, get 1 year experience, they can become the main applicant for residence also. We have assisted a lot of families in such circumstances. Sometimes partners are qualified and they get a job which is in the green list straight to residence and they meet the requirement. We've had instances where the family straight away applied for residence after the partners were here and the partner was here while the student was still studying. So don't think that you have to do one thing at a time. Don't think it has to be in one line: student, post study, then residence. If while on a student visa your partners become eligible for residence, you can straight away move to residence even before you finish your qualification. That's still okay.
Okay, Vandana, one more question who sent from our from pre-registration. Do we need it to be a skilled or no accredited employer for applying for this one?
So for applying, when you apply for residence
See,
currently,
yes,
that yes, so
yes.
it has to be with an accredited employer. This does not change. However, the skilled work experience points currently can be accumulated by working with any employer. So work experience doesn't have to be with an accredited employer. However, when you are submitting the residence application, your employment or your offer of employment has to be with an accredited employer. There are no changes that have been announced on this.
All right. Thank you very much, Vandana. Jerwin, can you please pick some of our questions on our chat box on our question and answer portion?
Okay, I think there were a lot of questions. There were 25 actually, but I'll just do we go through all the questions here? I think
No, you just pick
Okay,
because
so
some
all good. So whatever I may have
mhm,
answered a few, right,
some yeah
Jerwin? Yes.
already.
okay. One question here is I am taking up a master's degree and expect to graduate in July 2026. Will I be eligible to apply for residency by end of August? As regards the undergraduate degree, will this apply if the undergrad degree was taken outside of New Zealand?
Yes. So, from what I understand, this person says that I have not done the bachelor's in New Zealand, only the master's in New Zealand. So, when you read those lines on the announcement, it says postgraduate qualification should have an undergraduate qualification. It doesn't specify that your undergraduate should also be in New Zealand. No. So, when the announcement is made, and if your New Zealand qualification master's gives you 6 points, you should be then eligible to apply if you meet the other requirements, and that's okay. Your bachelors don't have to be in New Zealand, so don't worry.
Okay.
Okay.
Jerwin, pick one more
Another
from our.
question here. I think this is
Mhm.
also one of my questions. Do we need to retake the English proficiency test when applying for residency, or will our New Zealand qualification be sufficient?
So a New Zealand masters, it's for all those who are doing masters, they do not have to do a English test, and there are no changes in this, so that's fine. You, if your New Zealand qualification makes you is currently making you eligible on the English requirement, these changes will remain as it is. So all those who are doing masters don't need to get an English test done.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Mandana, because when we had our English test, IELTS, I think it was stated there that it was only valid for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. So counting from 2 years, that would expire by early next year. That's I'm speaking on behalf of our batch because we took IELTS way before September 2024. So it would expire on early 2026. So does that make us apply for another IELTS?
No, no.
Okay,
So the fact that anybody who's done a master's here in New Zealand is considered to be meeting the English language requirement is because of the fact that they have done a master's here in New Zealand. It's not because of the fact that their previous IELTS was valid. So don't worry.
got it, got it. Okay, another question here. Hi, I had my medicals X-ray only in the Philippines last March 2025. I would be completing my master's in November 2026. Do I still need to redo my medicals if I am going to apply for residency?
So the medicals are valid for 36 months from the date they were previously submitted, unless there are some further tests required by immigration in the medical assessment. So if the medicals and X-rays were submitted and their 36 months have not passed, and for X-rays you've not been out of the country in a high tuberculosis incident country, you would not need to redo it unless there have been some assessment notes where there were some conditions where immigration is monitoring. Otherwise, medicals from the previous applications are considered valid, if still valid time-wise.
Okay. How many
Okay.
more questions do we
That
have?
we can open from the floor. We can open live questions.
So yeah, there are live questions.
Those
You can start
questions.
reading. Yeah, so those are typed in the Q&A box. We can
Yeah.
take those.
Yeah, okay. Overseas
Median wage.
masters.
Yeah.
I'm just going through the
So
question.
they're asking if they is this rule is being applied to those who are graduated previously and those who are for 2027, Vandana.
So I've
You.
kind of explained previously.
Mhm.
So yeah, so when the rule is announced, we will have clarification, but we've never seen anybody being disadvantaged that way.
Okay. All right. This one is a quest. She's asking the median wage for one job only, or can be accumulated two jobs on the median wage. So,
It has to be with one employer,
implement.
the median wage with one employer, yes. And I also see somebody's asking, how is the median wage calculated?
Mhm.
So I would say it really depends on how is your remuneration mentioned on your employment agreement. Sometimes per hour wage rate is mentioned, then it's very clear. So if the annual remuneration is mentioned, then immigration will divide the annual remuneration with 52 because they have 52 weeks in a year. Then they would divide it by number of hours you are required to work in a week. So if you're required to work 40 hours a week, they will divide it by 40 to then see what is your per hour wage rate.
Okay.
So they
Thank.
will always divide it by the maximum hours you are required to work. So if your employment agreement says 40 hours, but it also mentions that you may be required to work more for certain responsibilities, and that more could be some weeks, maybe 10 hours more, then they will divide it by 50. So you have to be few things that you really have to be aware of.
All right. Someone is raising from her hand in the from the floor. Cheryl Tadeo. You
Shirley,
can
Shirley,
Shirley.
hi
Can you
Shirley.
please? Are you there? Oh.
Okay. While waiting for Shirley, another interesting question here, Vandana. Remember, we are required to do 1 year skilled work for those who are taking masters, right? Sorry, we need to have a skilled work. So does the skilled work need to be related to our master's degree, or it can be any skilled work?
Yes, a good question. I get it all the time. So the skilled work need not be related to your New Zealand qualification. So that could be related to your overseas qualification. That's still okay. That could be related to your previous work experience. That's also okay. So one thing which the applicants will have to confirm to immigration would be that they were suitably qualified for that role that they got. So they could be suitably qualified by way of anything, their overseas qualification, their work experience. It doesn't have to be related to their New Zealand qualification. I see a lot of confusion in this, and a lot of times these students, they restrict their options because they only look for jobs just related to their New Zealand qualification because they feel that's what is they are required to do. Somebody doing operations and logistics and operation, they would just look at jobs in logistics. Somebody who's doing business IT or information technology, they'll just look at IT, forgetting that they also have a business qualification, or forgetting that they also have business related work experience. So you definitely can look for jobs in other areas that you are suitably qualified for.
All right. So, Mary Grace, can you please open your mic so you can ask your questions? Oh,
Hi, Grace.
ay-
Are you there?
nawala.
Okay, we are keep asking whichever
Yeah.
question you think I should answer then.
Okay, Vandana, one more question texted me. If ever they can, after graduation, they can apply straight to residency. No more, do they need to really to apply for post-study work visa, or they
So
can still apply?
that really depends on how much visa do you have you got left. So let's say if you graduated next year in November, and you get into a and you have full-time work rights then to work because your summer holidays and then you had visa till March next year. So then you have few months to work full-time, apply for resident to see if the decision comes within that time. If not, you definitely have to take a well-informed decision. First thing you'll have to check whether that residence criteria, that application type that you are submitting, will you get an interim visa on that or not? If not, you definitely will have to apply for post-study work visa. Even if you get the interim visa, then the second question you will have to check on from your end would be, do you really want to come on an interim visa? Because if something goes wrong on the residence application while being on an interim visa, then you have no right to apply for any other category. So that puts a lot of risk on the applicant. So I would say at that stage, you need to have a discussion with your advisor. What is the best course of action for you? However, we've done a lot of applicants who are currently on straight to residence. So as soon as they finish their student visa, they get a job offer for straight to residence and eligibility. And we've done a lot of applications where they have moved straight from student to residence without the need of coming on a post-study work visa. So I'm not saying not possible, definitely possible, but there are so many other factors that you would need to consider at that time to decide whether that's the best course of action for you.
Right. Thank you very much, Vandana. So we have heaps of questions. I know everyone wants to have a question. So at least we're taking two more questions from the floor. If you want to ask question, if not, we will get one more question from our chat box, and then we'll call it for if you need more clarification, you can call us in our in our office or email me. Jerwin, can you find
Okay.
one more questions for
Yeah.
from the chat box?
Okay. There's a concern right over here, Vandana. So one participant, he or she, they got a job when the median wage was 29.65, and they were being offered at $30 per hour. They had a master done in UK, So the question is, will the new rule apply or do they need to have a new median wage?
So I need more information for that because clearly the median has increased to 31.61 from 29 when like more than a year back. So if this person had a master's already and got a job offer as 29.66 or 30, should have already applied for residence. So I need to know more. Why have they waited? Because it's clearly almost, or it's going to be almost close to 2 years, if not 2 years, by when the wage rate was increased. So first thing, why wasn't the application submitted till now? Second thing, if they are submitting before the new rules are announced, that is before August 2026, then definitely they will need to meet the current median also when they are submitting the application. It's only if they continue to work in that role till August next year, and when at that time they are ticking all the boxes of starting the job with the median and consistently working, they may be eligible. But I need to understand more because it's definitely they've met the eligibility. To me, it seems because 29.66 was more than a year back, and masters gave them 5 points. They should have applied by now, is what I think.
All right. Vandana, I'm taking one last question from my end and maybe one last question from Jerwin. They're asking full if it's applying for the job, it is fixed term can be considered okay, or do you need to accept the fixed term contract, or they need to be a continuous regular job, Vandana?
So if it's a fixed term contract, the instructions say that the fixed term contract has to be at least 12 months or more, and there should be a reason on why fixed term, and in all likelihood, this will be extended and things like that. But it definitely at least 12 months is a requirement for fixed term contracts, apart from other things. Yeah.
All right.
Jervin.
Okay.
Jerwin?
Um, Mandana, another relevant question going back to the English proficiency test earlier. So I think if I understood correctly, we don't need to take another English proficiency test, right? How about their husbands or wives, for
And
example?
most of you are masters, right?
Right, right.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
if they're applying for residency as a family, do their husbands or wives need to apply for, or do their husbands or wives need to take the English proficiency test?
Yes, they would need to take the English proficiency test. However, even a lower English score is okay for them. They get 5 bands. That's okay. They have the option of not taking the test and saying that they will pre-purchase ESOL. So there are families where partners would not like to take the English test, or dependent children in that age bracket. So and they will have the option of pre-purchasing ESOL. What that means is when the application is approved, in the approval in principle letter, they would have to make additional payment. However, we advise our clients always is let the partners give the English test, and even if the score is like 4 bands, 4.5 bands, they would still save money rather than not giving the test and paying more for ESOL pre-purchase.
All right. Thank you very much, Vandana. I will take one more question. It was texted again
We
to me. I don't
we
know.
have 2 minutes left.
I'm
Okay,
okay,
so
no problems. Yeah.
I'm currently working as level 1 and I don't need to meet do I need to meet the median wage to qualify for residency?
No, come again with the question, please, Ajay.
I'm currently working as level 1. Maybe it's tier 1. Do I need to meet the median wage to qualify for residency?
Yes. So any person who's working in and score 1 or 2 or 3, that role is only considered skill if they are working on a median wage with an accredited employer and other things. If it is for residents, so definitely median wage is a requirement.
All right. Thank you very much. And I know we have how many we have 100 attendees, Vandana, for today.
Good
So,
number.
and then we have how many? I think 30 plus questions, but we really can't answer all your questions. So please message me at J for jar, A for apple, Z for zebra at nzimmigration.info. Okay. So, by the way, we are also offering free assessment as long as you are part of this webinar, and please indicate which school, from which, and then because majority of us also not only AIS, I think majority of all the Filipinos are attended in our webinar today, Vandana. And then please inform that, and then aside from that, work visa, partnership visa, and then for your residency, we are one-stop shop. So don't worry, we can answer all your questions. And of course, because we have our resident immigration advisors here in our house, so you don't have to worry. And if ever nahihiya kayo makipag-usap kay Vandana in English, I'm here for you to translate everything to the organization, okay? And rest assured, all your cases will be treated as confidential. Wala pong sharing ng information, all right? So, Sherwin, can you please say the last words also for
Okay.
all the students here?
Yeah. On behalf of the AIS C Club community and the other Filipinos in the call, I would like again to thank Jazz for coming up with this initiative and for Himanshu and Vandana for taking the time to answer all of the questions here. So again, as Jazz mentioned earlier, we don't have the luxury of time to answer all of your questions. If you have other clarifications, just feel free to email Jazz. So I know this is going to be exciting for all of us, and our future lies in these new immigration rules. So we hope for the better for all of us. Yeah. So again,
Yes.
thank you everyone for joining the event, and thank you Vandana and Himanshu, and of course,
Mhm.
Most
All
welcome.
right.
Thank you so much. It was a
Thank
pleasure giving information.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Vandana, for really for the choir for the Filipinos, because I know we are a small number of Filipinos, and of course we want also to have a clear vision for us here in New Zealand. And thank you also for the time. Alam ko may mga trabaho kayo, and you take time to listen to our licensed immigration advisor so that hindi po kayo magkakamali. Maraming salamat at laban lang tayo mga dreamers. Bye-bye po.
maraming
Thank you,
salamat
Vandana.
po. Thank you again everyone.
Thanks. Bye bye.